Hello, I'm Andrew, your shorts program for the 24th edition here at Asian Film Festival. Thank you so much for coming to this panel. It's called Keep It Short, but I don't know if we're gonna keep it short today. Maybe not. Anyways, first and foremost, I want to say we have two directors running late, so they'll be here soon. But I guess let's start with introductions. Can I have everyone introduce themselves and I guess tell us a little bit about what your film is about? Alright, we got one more.
Hello everyone, thank you for being here. My name is Ramazan Nanayev. I am a writer, director, and producer of a short film called Ikigai. And it's about a master sushi chef named Mr. Gichi, who finds out that his good friend and also co-worker gets sexually assaulted by their biggest client. And it's a story about him trying to show up for her in the way that she needs him to, not in the way that he thinks he should bring about justice.
Cool. Hi everyone, I'm Amy. I'm the writer and director of Three. Three is a family story about an afternoon where at a birthday party, a lot of family secrets about a woman and her daughter's roommate's relationship become more clear to a group of friends.
Hi everyone, my name is Austin Chen, and I directed a short film called Red Pocket. It's about a family who essentially finds a red envelope that has infinite money, and some kind of chaos ensues at a dinner because of that.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm the writer-director of the short film The Black Ball, and that's a movie talk about the relationship of a father and a daughter. And I'm from Taiwan, so the screen just held yesterday. So if anyone went to watch it, then we can talk about it later. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Jessica Liu, and I'm the writer and director of Better Life, and it's a grounded sci-fi satire, basically about a medical procedure that turns slackers into model citizens. And an aging father buys it for his unemployed adult daughter to achieve his American dreams, but things don't go as planned. Yeah, so really glad to be here, and yeah, looking forward to the panel. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Li-Ying. I try to speak in English, but if I don't, I have some sentence I can say, I will ask my translator. And I'm a short film inspired by Li-Ying. I'm writer and director, and the story is about a comic book writer who wants to adapt her comic books to a series because it's big streaming. Well, okay, maybe I can speak in Mandarin. 就是这个故事是一个编剧要改编他的漫画给串流平台，然后串流平台因为不同的时间时长的要求，就是可能是1个小时或半小时的影集，然后制作公司在这个状态下，编剧就要做不同的改编，放入不同的类型或是不同的角色，然后就有各种的这个奇幻的喜剧。然后最后它变成一个1分钟的短剧这样子。
So the main character had to change the film length from short to long, and at the end it was a minute long film. Or the minute.
它是一个讲述编剧跟串流平台作战的短片，然后它可以。
So basically it's a short film about casual relationships.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Amazing collection of shorts. I'm really proud of this sort of I love how every short's sort of diverse and unique in its own way. And yeah, feel free to watch some of these shorts haven't screened yet, so right after this we got Shorts Program 2 at Look Cinemas, and then Shorts Program 3 where you can watch, inspired by Lip Balm, this Wednesday. For those of you who came to Shorts Program 1 yesterday, I want to thank you all. That was such a really collection of shorts that I was very proud of. But yeah, my first question is, speaking of Shorts Program 1, that was named The Kids We Were. I was wondering, what did each of you want to be when you grew up? Or what did each of you want to be when you were a kid?
I guess, well, I guess I can answer, but yeah, I think like for me, I was just always like stuck in my own head as a kid, like just observing people and kind of being like, you know, just making up stories and just, I don't know, like watching people. So I was just trying to not, you know, I wasn't like the best in school or anything, so I was just trying to figure out what I could do without, I guess, selling my soul or something. But here we are today. But yeah, I guess that's my answer.
I relate to better life. I grew up in a family that struggled financially, so I always, I guess I didn't know who I wanted to be or what I wanted to do, but I just wanted to be wealthy and rich and have a 3-story house. But I guess like, as I grew older, or naturally, I was just in my head by myself, coming up with stories, and that path led me here.
I haven't watched the short program yesterday, but when I was but I talked to many yesterday night, and also I feel like a lot of Asian filmmakers have a similar path. Like we started doing what we're expected to do, either math, school, whatever, and then somewhere along the way we figure out we need to find a space for ourselves. So I didn't really grow up thinking I'm going to become a filmmaker. I think I wanted to become a diplomat when I was a kid, and then also I didn't decide to become a filmmaker until I turned 30 3 years ago. So I started filmmaking 3 years ago, and before that I was basically following a path more or less favored by my parents, working marketing in New York for a while.
I mean, I guess I get a similar answer. Like, was not planning to become a filmmaker, and was just going to go into like maths and sciences. But here I am, and I mean, I wanted to still be rich and make money, so that's why I made a movie about that.
Okay, so before I become a filmmaker, I studied at the foreign language and literature. So I'm like a book addict when I was a child. And I like to read a lot of like literature, classic literature, and also a lot of like maybe romance or like historical kind of like book. So after like the university, I went to the master, and I started to do the cinema. Yeah, so yeah, it's my journey.
Oh, yeah, I guess I should add, I always I was getting a lot of nightmares, and like reoccurring nightmares. Thankfully they've lessened now, but just about failing my pre-calc class, because yeah, that sadly wasn't an option for me. But I think, you know, yeah, like I mentioned, I loved, you know, reading and writing, and kind of just realized that I could go into filmmaking with that, and just did like, you know, the DIY path. Like I made my first short when I was studying abroad in Singapore with literally just like, you know, back in the day, a DSLR camera and like a skateboard as a dolly on the subway. So that kind of was my start, and just kept going from that.
And when I'm making my first short film, before that I'm a theater writer, and I working in theater about maybe 10 years, and I study in theater. And when I'm a student, and the play we try to rehearse, so it's like a Shakespeare and Chekhov. But I'm an Asian, and I'm a female, as a queer. So I just wonder, what is our stories? What is our life about? So we try to behavior like British and behavior like Russian people. So, but it's really weird when I am student. So I just wondering what the story is about us. I'm from a small island, and as a female, some stories never been told, and as a queer, so that's why I'm trying to talk about my own story. And I start in theater, and now I'm trying to make films. And I also got some a Netflix series just on the TV show. Yeah, so that's what made me today. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, whatever path you guys wanted to be on in the first place, I'm really happy you all chose directing because those were all amazing shorts that I got to see. And we got to see a lot of that childhood self in those because they all felt really personal. And on that note, what I love about the programming at YAF is that it is so unique, personal, and kind of like raw. There's always a sort of like weird and strangeness to it that I just kind of see apart from like different films. I guess my question is like, how did you guys choose to like approach your sort of like topics and themes and make them kind of creative and sort of make your films kind of unique and stand out in a way that was like unlike others?
So, Ikigai, unfortunately, is inspired by true events where a good friend of mine who was sexually assaulted came to me, told me the story, and I was in a position where I needed to show up for her. And the first thing was like, let's seek justice. Like, what do we do? Let's go and make a report. Or I can go and beat up this guy, whatever. Like, and throughout the process, I realized I was making this situation about myself and not about her and what she needed in the moment. So after realizing that and being there for her, I understood that many in my situation, men allies probably feel the same way, and perhaps the best thing that I can do is tell a story where it's a man in a situation and what he needs to do in order to be there for the person that they love in a way that they need them to, so they can heal, move on, or whatever else they need to do in order to live a fulfilling life moving forward.
3 is partially inspired by my personal experience as well, just in different situations, whether it's in a Chinese church group or in a situation where I feel like there are things I cannot really say out loud. But with all my films, I think they start from a personal experience, but they never are a real depiction of reality. A lot of times they are what my wish for a situation would be. Like, there are scenarios that would play in my mind. I was like, is this gonna be horrible? If my mom, my girlfriends are here together with all these group of people. And then I would be creatively, how can I create a vision that's not the worst case scenario or the reality, but something I would like to see. So that's where this film comes from. So it's really a hope I had for kind of relationship I wish to have.
I think for me, I just really wanted to make a fun movie and just like have fun making it. I think a lot of the stuff that I've like directed or produced in the past are generally like pretty serious, and I kind of had an opportunity to make a small film and do something very different. So I kind of just took an idea that I thought was very fun and that had a lot of like opportunity to do like practical effects and do kind of wild stuff, and I was like, I just am gonna go with this. And that's kind of it, to just kind of have fun and make something that I haven't really done before.
Okay. And the Black Doll, this short is based on my personal experience, so from my childhood memory, and I like developed this story for a long time, and it is my thesis, so it's for my graduate thesis in MFA. So at that moment when I think about like I want to improve my relationship with my father, because I think like in Taiwan or maybe in Asia, like we we have a very weird or subtle relationship with the parents. It's like we didn't show, like my family, we didn't show our emotion very directly. So it's kind of weird. I have lived with my father like for a long time, but I didn't know about him like at all. He seems like a very like a stranger to me. So like after when I like start to make film, I think it may be an opportunity that I can like unsolve or have something. So I just write down the scene or the like memorable scenes from my childhood. So it come out this story. And I think the Black Doll, it didn't like, I don't want to use like a very like concrete narrative. So I use a lot of like sound or also like the shot. We design the shot to convey some smell or some, how to say, it's like a very sensational feeling for me myself. So I try to figure out that way. It's not just for the narrative side of the story structure or anything.
Yeah, so for Better Life, I actually, it's definitely based off of my own experiences, and I got the procedure. Just kidding. Basically, I also kind of like what you were talking about, don't have a good, there's definitely conflict between myself and, my dad. And for me as a filmmaker, I kind of like to, I guess, take serious, deeper topics and just add a little bit of levity and heighten the world. I've been very inspired by films like Being John Malkovich and even recently like The Substance, and I kind of like to just show tales about morality, but really show like both sides. I think it's pretty interesting, the question of, especially when you immigrate to a new country and you always want to give a better life for your family and your children, but where's the line between, material wealth and when you keep acclimating and getting more and more and like human greed. So kind of like just questions of that nature really guided me, and I think, I can definitely relate with both sides and kind of, as well as helped me kind of process things that I went through. That's kind of a little bit of what inspired it, and just having fun with elevating the world with darkness, but also some levity.
And the short film inspired by Li-Ying, it inspired by, I had published a comic books maybe 2 years ago, which is talk about love and loneliness and different kinds of sexual relationship. It's a 10 short story in one book. And a company asked me, they want to adapt it to movie or series or whatever. And in different kind of movie, TV series, is totally different. So if you want to adapt to different kind of this content, you should put different stories, plot. So it makes me want to make this short film to talk about how difficult when I do things like this, because every kind of adaptation makes the comic books to the different things. So maybe the love and the relationship I want to talk about, maybe it's not the same thing in different kind of the contents. And the whole idea is inspired by a movie I like. It's called Adaptation. It's an old movie. So that's why it's my idea. Thank you.
Yeah, it's great. I really love how each one was sort of like a personal, but each experience was unique in its own way. I heard a lot of these shorts inspired by like features and other different films, and I was just sort of like wondering if you could pair your short with a feature film, what would you program it with?
Well, the thing is, I'm actually excited to say that my short is a proof of concept, and we're making it into a feature going into production in September. So, yeah, I'm very happy and excited about that. And also, one of my awesome producers is here today. Shout out to Sam. But yeah. Just trying not to, lose all my hair in the process. I think I would pair it, I guess I would pair it with I mentioned the substance, but I think, just something that, really kind of combines like dark things with a more explosive, maximalistic style. So yeah, that's just what comes to mind right away.
Other films that come to mind for me when I'm thinking about your work are like Sorry to Bother You.
Oh yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's one of my inspirations.
Okay, so maybe I can add something. Okay, but I think for me, the Black Dog, because it's the short. So I think I don't want to make it into a feature or something. I think it's complete for me. So right now I'm working on other stories, and the story is about a woman and about techno, a lot of scenes. So it's during a pandemic time, and I'm still develop that stories right now. So I think. Very thankful that the Black Dog took me here, and I can share this story. But it seems because during that time I also work another short, so it's very grateful that I can take this short to different place. But I'm still working on different project right now.
I feel like it's hard to pair, but when we were thinking about film, especially the lighting of the film, the mood of the film, a huge reference is the Japanese director Koreeda. So I would be happy to be paired with any of Koreeda's film that happens in the house in summer family.
I think for mine, you haven't seen it yet, but it's got a lot of weird action and comedy stuff in it, and I feel like Everything Everywhere is definitely a movie that I took a lot of inspiration from, where I have a lot of family drama, but then also kind of just fun, kind of wacky action comedy stuff.
Yeah, that's great. I feel like I love all the different answers. In the future, definitely submit. If you have a feature in mind for a future short, just let us know. Look at our program, and maybe we might be able to make it happen. I'd love to do a 10-hour program of just a bunch of your shorts with each different features, just to see how that would work out. But we'd also have to get an audience to sit for 10 hours. I want to talk about sort of the more filming process of shorts. My first question is there something you feel that's underrated or overlooked about the shorts filmmaking process that you feel like most people don't really recognize at first?
So I feel like I made a feature film before making the short, and it is done pretty well, and we shot in 6 countries with over 200 cast and crew. And when I started to make the short, I'm like, I just need a weekend, get a few friends together, I'm gonna make this story. And I just realized that whether it's a feature or a short, it just requires a lot of work and dedication, and a lot of sleepless nights. So that's kind of what I remember, that no matter what you're making, it's hard work.
I haven't made a feature yet, but I've made a lot, not a lot of shorts, but I've been making one short per year, and this year I'm in the process of making my 3rd short for reasons I don't understand myself either. But I think the process of making short film but I'm also in the process of developing my feature, so it's really interesting to compare this experience. I think I always thought about shorts and featuring in relationship to drawings and paintings. A lot of people think of shorts as a sketch for a feature, or like drawing a sketch of painting, but I do think shorts has its own art form because it has a limited amount of time, so the way stories should be told or should unfold functions very differently from feature. And I also feel like shorts open up a lot of space for experimentation because it's not so heavily it doesn't have to be plot driven. It can be mood driven, it can be a slice of life, it can be many different scenes that there are ideas I feel like can't really sustain the audience attention for 90 minutes, but it can for 10 minutes. So I do feel like short is its own format that can be used interestingly. And 2 years ago, when the Thai film director Aki Chabon did a US tour, he went to a bunch of schools, including Columbia, which I'm still a student at. And at the time, he showed like 20 of his short film in a row. And it was really an interesting experience because I've seen all his feature, and then watching short, I realized it's a completely different experience of time and space and artistic subjects that could be used differently.
I think I'll get more of like a practical kind of like answer to it for me, or just like logistical. But I feel like when I was in school, making short films was like a really great experience, and that's all we were doing, and like I wasn't thinking about anything else, and I got to have the ability to be able to just focus on that stuff, and then going to just like make shorts or make movies kind of just like post school in real life is like very hard, especially like with short films, trying to go and get people together for like not a lot of money to go put something together really quickly. Like the amount of time to put things together is a lot shorter. So definitely just like an appreciation for my kind of like cast and crew for coming in very quickly and doing something, even though our prep time is like, the project might be bigger than like something we do at school, but like the prep time is significantly shorter. I feel like that is something that like you don't really realize till you go and do it, and you're like, oh my god, I have to make this movie in 1 week.
I think I agree with the director said. Like, I think the short is in like a very different art form compared to feature. And I think when I doing the shorts, I practice a lot, not only for like how to build a cinematic world, but also I think it's the most important thing for me is like build the connection and the networking of other, like my partner, for the other filmmaker like DPs or like the producer. So because I think when we make film, it's like a life journey. So if we can like maybe have some like relationship with the other filmmakers during our process working on the short, meet different people and working with different people, then I think it can build some community, and I really like that because it's filmmaking is not only for like director. It's like the film is everyone. It's like people in the crew and the actor and also a lot of people. So I think this process and have connection with other and inspire each other, I think is the most important thing. So it's not like when like in the beginning, because I'm a writer director, so I write my own story. But that time is like a very lonely like time. But when we go into like pre-production and also shooting, it's like everything become very like energetic, and I really like that. So I think it's the most important like part, it's the processing shorts.
Yeah, I think like, it's a great question, Andrew, because I feel like shorts are underappreciated in general because, the general public doesn't really even know short films exist, and I feel like if you can make a great short, it really shows that you can get your message across in a very concise, amount of time, and you really have to know your vision and everything like that. So I feel like a short is a great launching pad for a feature because, like with features, they're definitely more forgivable, I would say. Like if you, didn't do like one scene or whatever, didn't connect with the audience, there's always like 80 more minutes to do so. But then with the short, it's like everything needs to be intentional and kind of, yeah, definitely serve its purpose. So I think like shorts filmmakers should be taken more seriously and hopefully be given more opportunities.
Actually, this is my first short film, and it's my first time to be a director. So I think I still learning from them. But for me, short is very fun and it's very creativity and full of energy. So and I can just add some question, but I don't need to tell the whole maybe 18-minute story. So but for me it's really really fun, and I don't know, because the short, for me it's weird because shorts can the audience cannot see the shorts a lot because they just put on a festival. So but it's really weird for me. I talk about my works, but the audience haven't seen it. So I think it's really a weird experience, but I'm still learning. But for me, it's really really fun to discover different sides about the idea and creativity. Yeah.
What I loved about sort of like all the different answers was there was this idea of how shorts is kind of this amazing grounds for experimentation, and you have a lot more freedom. But there's this also other side of it where shorts are kind of more limited in terms of time, budget, and like resources. And I was like just wondering, in terms of with shorts, do you find like the limiting aspect of shorts to be more of a challenge or more advantageous for like the filmmaking process?
I think all filmmakers would always want more time and more money on any project. I'm pretty sure that's the same for feature filmmaking or short filmmaking. But I think short has been a good training ground in terms of perseverance, endurance, and just stamina. I think if I were put on a feature set for the first thing I direct for a month in a row, I would probably die. But after 3 years of doing shorts and having to constantly be on set for like a week, I feel like I'm not very well trained in terms of the stamina. But I also think making shorts, like 3 was made in 2.5 days. And I haven't shot anything that's longer than 4 days so far. So I think in the process, because of the limit we have with time and crew and all the resources, I've really learned to be precise. We used 90% of the shots we made in 3, everything made into the final film, and that continues with all the rest of the films I make. So I think I've learned in the process to really know what I want, what I need, to prioritize my time and energy to the things that are really important.
I really enjoy the process of making short films. I think they're incredible. They take much less time. The feature took 6 years, short took 6 months. I like that part of it. And I think what people said about, being able to share something personal or say something that you want to say, experiment, without dedicating many years and a lot of money. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can add to that. I think for short films, it's really great because you can kind of go and do what you actually want to do. And, with feature stuff, there's always, I haven't done features, but just like, I'm assuming there's always kind of things, roadblocks in the way that you might not necessarily have on like a short film that's kind of mainly probably funded by you or, friends and family. And it's good. It's a good kind of training ground to be able to be like, I have this one idea and like, can I execute it in a few days? And it's definitely kind of a good experience. And just budget and same thing, like budget and time wise, there's always not enough. But I'm sure, no matter what you're doing, that's always the case. But I do think being able to kind of like execute a film in like 2 or 3 days is like a good skill to have.
I think the challenge part is like, yeah, people mention about like the money, right? But I think for like in Taiwan, our like culture administration, they have some grants for doing short and also features. So I'm very grateful that I received like a short film grant. So I made this film. But it's, I think the funny side is because when I get like more money to make a short, then I want to like put more money, like because it seems like the DP will say, oh, if we add like more extra money, then we can use a better machine or better equipment. So it's like never like we still want to like make something very special or very great. So we will add money, like. But after I finish these two shorts, this one and another one, I made them in the same year. So after that, I think I learned this lesson. I think I don't have to, I don't need to be so greedy about that, holding a lot of like things and wishing that, oh, it will be better. But I think we can use like another creative TC, not using too much money, but like some DIY or making something like very not so like high price that we can achieve the same same effect or something. So that's my lessons after that.
Yeah, so I actually have made, it's pretty crazy thinking about it. I've made like 12 shorts at this point. And yeah, I think with each one definitely learned a lot because, you know, I think when you start out, like you just want to kind of, yeah, make like this as big of a production as you can and like all these different things like locations and things of that nature. But I think like as I've been creating more shorts, I've learned to really utilize my resources and kind of like work with what I have and still have, you know, a great production and like yeah, just learn so much from like casting and crewing and building those relationships and yeah, just making sure that, you know, all your resources end up on screen, I think is a very important thing with like, you know, everyone was talking about like utilizing your budget, even with like, you know, Marvel films, they'll never have enough budget. But I think the important thing is kind of just that I've learned to do is kind of shooting for the edit. So kind of just having that in mind, like really having a clear cut like shot list or storyboard and just knowing, you know, I want this exact type of sequence and shot. Of course things will change, but I think that really helps to kind of utilize your resources. So yeah.
I think every production always doesn't have enough money. So I think maybe it's not the question because everybody always want to ask more money. So, but for the shorts, and yeah, it definitely is low budget. So let's just make sure. I took that 4 days, and so when I write script, I control maybe just 4 people and maybe just 3 things, and just I can control in very short days. Yeah. So, but for me in Taiwan, for me maybe it's everybody should have lunch on time and have dinner on time. It's a difficult part because because my crew they study in US. They say US when they shoot movies maybe they eat lunch after shooting like 6 hours later. But in Taiwan on 12 eat. Yeah. But if you start from 10 o'clock and just 2 hours later and eat lunch, yeah, everybody. So what I just start. Yeah. So it's Asian people want to eat on time is very, very difficult to me when shooting. It don't waste my time. Yeah. So because if I can ask people in the filmmaker in Taiwan, I want to change the eating type, but I think really it's difficult. It's challenging to our traditional.
They'll get hangry, right?
But you just finish breakfast and maybe 2 hours later you eat lunch.
That's
too
too
much
fast.
to eat.
Yeah.
I was wondering, money was a big aspect and funding talked about throughout all these answers. And if you guys had any advice for any, I guess, like young and up-and-coming filmmakers who are struggling to, I guess, get their ideas out there and secure funding, what would it be?
I think I would say like definitely work, like, you know, if it's your first short, like definitely work with what you have and kind of, you know, especially like locations, like see, you know, what you have access to already and build a short with that instead of like, you know, putting in all your savings or something into your first shorts, which I definitely did not do, but yeah, but I think it's kind of like, I heard of this exercise where you have like, I think it's one location, 2 actors, and like, I don't know, 3 minutes or something like that. I'm sure you guys have heard of that, but I think like just giving yourself those kind of creative restraints actually, yeah, make you stronger. So I think that's a great way to start.
I think you should get yourself a rich uncle. But if you don't have that, I think this is the cliche, right? Like technology is there, it takes people to make movies, and you have movies that win awards at Sundance that are shot on iPhone. I think we live in an age where you can create art and tell stories with what you have, and you just need what you in order to make movies, you need people, you need locations, you need equipment. Money is one way to get those things, but it's not the only way.
Yeah, I feel like funding is such a hard question to answer, especially in the United States. It's just, there's basically no funding for short film that's like easily accessible unless you network and you meet financiers who might be interested in your project, or if you have a future, this is a proof of concept. There are ways of financing, but it's generally really hard. But I do find in other parts of the world, there are definitely more funding. Like in China, I know there are a lot more grants for different kinds of grant opportunity. And I was in France recently, and there are tons of funding. Like they have a lot of funding for short films. And so I feel like it really depends. And I know Taiwan also has pretty good funding. So yeah, I think if it's US-based filmmaker, it's a really challenging issue.
Yeah, I guess as someone who's made all his films in the US, it is not easy. And most of my films have been like, I mean, all the films I've directed have had the same budget, mainly because it's like, that's just what I have. And I mean, similar to like what Jessica was saying, I was like, I literally, the first 2 movies I directed, I was like, they're taking place outside because I cannot afford lights. And this movie that I directed is the first movie I've ever shot it's like indoors. So, because I could finally afford to like rent out like a G&E package. But I do think, yeah, it's definitely tough to even like, I mean, find grants in the US. My film was actually made through a grant in the US, but it's like tiny, like very small amount of money, and I still had to put like a decent amount of my own money into making my movie.
I think like we are director, but we like in the funding process we should make ourselves be a producer as well. So it's like we have to learn a lot of skills to how to find the resources. So I crazily like subscribe a lot of like Instagram account or some social media account about like the festival, how to apply the festival, and also like what is the grant. So we should do that kind of thing and to get more resources to do the short, and also every process after we made the short, then how do we make it to be public and releasing somewhere else?
It's hard question to answer because I first time come to that festival this year. Yeah, so I worked on writers for living. So but yeah, same as the Yang Ling we from the same place. So is apply different festival is really just drive me crazy. Yeah, so I just yeah. Okay, maybe next.
That's great. We have time for a couple audience questions. So if any of you have audience questions, we got people roaming the aisles with mics. Yeah.
Hello. So I guess we're at an Asian short film making panel. So I'll try to work in robots and Hollywood lore into this question, hopefully in hopes of an interesting answer. So around 2015 or so, HBO is talking about a new series called Westworld, right, which became kind of a thing, a cultural phenomenon around the time. The whole idea of AI, AI takeover and AI fear and all this sort of thing, it was boosted by this series called Westworld. But as soon as this thing hit Variety and all these news outlets, there was a Bruce Willis cheapie that came out called Vice, which was about an AI takeover. And then there was another movie that came out on a low budget that had a very similar premise. A few years ago, Apple TV was talking about Florence Pugh starring in a story about a sex robot gaining consciousness and killing her owner. Right? As soon as that came out, two films about AI sex robots, showed up on Netflix for Megan Fox and what's her name? What's the other actress's name? The one that came out recently, Companion. Right? So the point I'm trying to make is, as a first-time filmmaker, putting your best foot forward, how do you deal with the trepidation of putting your best ideas out and having someone, let's say, run with it? Someone who has deeper pockets gets, kind of a hint from what you're doing. And, how do you deal with the idea of intellectual property and competition? When you're first starting out. The ease with which people can just say, can just look at your idea, as a short, see it on YouTube, Vimeo, whatever, and just walk away with an idea. They have bigger budget, they have deeper pockets.
You use the power of the watermark. No, but I think it's that's always I think a fear people have, but at the end of the day, it's at least how I see it is every story has been told already. It's more about, as a filmmaker, how you see it and how you tell the story. So I'm I don't think any AI or executive will tell it the way I would do it. So that's kind of just I just give myself that mantra, because it is any large studio or entity could take your idea. It is a reality. But I think it's just having the faith in yourself and your specific vision.
I don't know. I feel as an Asian filmmaker, especially working here, I just feel like there's still so much white space. I've seen, I think everyone's story I've seen are always different, or even similar subject matter, it's always a different angle or different way of telling. Then I feel like we're yet at the point where we're all repeating the same story. I feel like there's still so many stories that we all want to tell, and everyone is having a different experience with it. Everyone's telling it differently, so that's not something I'm too worried about. And also, I feel like there's also like the uniqueness of the experience of being Asian. I don't think a studio can just literally take my short and then find another Asian. I don't know. I feel like this ethical questions. It's a little complicated when it comes to portraying Asian experience in the United States. On the other hand, I feel like similar to what Jessica said, I feel like stories are all the same if you look at the core of it, and then there's so many AI films. There's so many films of similar subject matters, but people still watch all of them or some of them, and there are things people like for different reasons. So I feel like being a director a lot of time is finding. I think the idea of a voice is always something so abstract, and people mystifying it, and I don't really believe in it to a large degree, but I do feel like it's a story. It's not only what's on the script, it's not only the plot that defines a movie. It's about so many things, image, experience, emotions. It's not just the words that can be taken away.
Can I just add a little tag to that question? Does anyone deal actively with the sort of trepidation of putting your best foot forward because there's so much competition?
We're gonna move on a little bit because we're running out of time.
Yeah.
I should. We only got 10 minutes left, so we're gonna do one last question from me. But I should also say real quick, when dealing with the trepidations of studio executives, please watch Inspired by Lip Balm on Wednesday. Because that was a great show. Especially with streamers. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to close audience questions, but if you want to meet any of these filmmakers, feel free to come on Wednesday night. We're having a shorts and indie filmmaker night where a bunch of these people will show up, so you can ask your questions then. Also, they will also be present at, some of them will be at the program right after the shorts program 2 and shorts program 3 on Wednesday. For my final question, I'm going to start with Ramazan on this one. Is there anything you want audiences to take away from your short?
We wanted to make this short to build awareness and show those who are affected by injustice that, you know, we're there, we want to show up as allies to support whoever is affected by sexual assault. While we were making this film, we were also building partnerships with organizations that are actually doing the work on the ground. And one of our partners is actually here. The organization is called Respect Together. They've been around for over 50 years now, just celebrated their birthday. And they're doing the work on the ground in terms of prevention, but also providing support to those who are affected. And I wanted to have Yolanda, who's the executive director of the organization, kind of tell us more about what they're doing and if they have a call to action to share it with the audience today.
Yeah, we can have someone hand their mic.
Hi everyone. I just want to start out saying thank you so much to Ramazan and the team at Hikao. It's really important to put this message out, and also on the way that we support folks that have experienced sexual assault. And then with Respect Together, our goal to prevent sexual assault as a whole, whether that be in your workspace, your family space, or in your school space, it takes our full community to take an opportunity to learn. And that's what I really appreciate about the short film. It opens up that door around awareness and what we can do, not only to support a survivor of assault, but also it starts the conversation on what we can do as a community, no matter what your community space is, to prevent sexual assault. And the film also highlights the lack of consent and just that word and what that means to you. That would be the call to action that I have for everyone here in the spaces that you're in, is to really start to talk with your family and friends on what that means, so that we can really start the space of preventing assault from happening from the door, and then what it means to learn more on how you support someone, because it's quite a beautiful thing that a friend would take the opportunity, will choose you to tell their story to. So when they choose you, do you have the skills and the tools to support them? Whereas Ramazan said earlier, not making it about yourself, but truly supporting them and being there for them, whatever choice they made throughout the whole process. So that would be the call to action that I have, is for us to learn more on how we prevent sexual assault from happening within our communities. And then if and when it does, that we are there to be able to support our person the way that they need and not the way that we expect. So I truly appreciate the opportunity to be connected to Ramazan for over a year now.
Okay, so I really like the metaphor I had discussed with a friend once of what I want my film to be like. I think I want them to be like acupuncture, the experience of you're touched by something tiny that you're not aware of, and you might not be aware of at the moment, but maybe later you feel like there's a small muscle that's twisting a different way. So that's the takeaway, I guess. I just want, even if there's like a small moment of feeling being touched by something, that would have been a great achievement already for me.
I don't know if I have any real takeaways besides just kind of like having fun watching my movie. That's why I made it for myself, and I just kind of want the same thing for the audiences.
Okay, so because my film, The Black Doll, like this title in Chinese, when you combine these two characters, it will become silence, these two characters. And yeah, so I think in the film, the silence is like the father use silence to like respond to his daughter, but his daughter in the end used the howling to like accompany her father. So I think some emotion or some power is beyond the words, and this is what I really want to use this film to convey. And just like some companion is not like internal, but at that moment and at that like space, you can feel it, and I think it's the most beautiful thing in the world.
For Better Life, I would say generally the message, I mean, of course you can take away whatever you want from it, but I would say that kind of just questioning for yourself, like, what is a better life and what are you really living for, you know? Like, and what's the bar or level of achievement where you'll finally be happy? So I think that's just something that anyone can ponder about and think of.
I haven't seen shorts a lot of, but when I saw shorts, I always think about Mozart. Yeah, because when Mozart is a little boy and who write a simple song, just use piano, but very short, and but the idea is always about the music connection. It's not the whole big opera and very so big. You should think a lot of the different, violin or pianos. But it's just a simple things. But you can ask yourself, what's what's the most important things you care about? So yeah, that's what I think about.
Well, thanks so much, guys. That's about it for time. I want to thank all the filmmakers for attending, and please watch your shorts. Shorts program 2 is right after this, so I'm heading right after that. There's still seats available at the cinemas. And also we have Shorts program 3 on Wednesday, 7/16, and the Shorts party right after that. And our last Shorts program is on the 17th, All Korean Shorts at the Korean Cultural Center. So please give it up for these wonderful panelists.